Hi, my name is Joshua Stromberg. I graduated this May 2021 with a bachelor's in information technology and a minor in English, and I'm going to be starting my job at working for NTT Data, working in automated intelligence and technical consulting. When I first started at UNT, I knew I wanted to get into the IT field, and I also wanted to have an artistic focus on the side for my own benefit. Having such a wonderful, well-rounded education experience honestly helped me in many ways. Primarily, I feel like I stretched a lot more on the creative side and the technical side since I had to use both halves of my brain at the same time. I didn't really have any hard plans other than focusing on cybersecurity for industry opportunities, and I also wanted to get a stable job because I love my artistic side. I want to be able to write on the side, but I also wanted that strong technical background so I could have a good job in the field that I enjoy. So my advice, start early and do not be afraid to go and look outside of what you normally consider. Opportunity always kind of like lies in corners where, you may not even think to look for things. My initial thoughts were in cybersecurity, but when I went and had all my interviews, my job interview with NTT Data and for technical consulting sounded very interesting to me, and that's where I ended up changing, not necessarily my degree focus, but definitely what I wanted to do with my plans for after graduation. I think getting in early to these sorts of things and not being afraid to ask help, talk to your professors. A lot of them have opportunities over the summer. Go talk to the career center. Talk to the career center. They are do a wonderful job there. And just do not be afraid to just jump in and just test the waters. So I feel like my decisions in engineering and technical knowledge have really expanded my skill repertoire. Uh, Definitely Capstone has prepared me for real challenges in the business, uh, and honestly being able to work with my peers, being able to meet and have such wonderful professors at UNT, it kind of having that non-traditional background for me, and also being able to like expand, into English as a minor and having my technical knowledge. It may sound like a really stupid ideologue, but calling myself a modern Renaissance man has actually kind of helped out a lot with job interviews. A lot of people seem to like that, and I cannot recommend enough, taking advantage of UNT as a burgeoning school with so many different fields of research for you to go into. Just make use of as many things as you can. So my current role I found through the Fall Career Fair hosted by the College of Engineering. Uh, I originally just wanted to try and look for jobs and internships over the summer, so I made sure I went through. I initially scheduled everything that sounded really interesting. Then I found some things that may be somewhat outside my wheelhouse, and then some things that were a bit very outside my wheelhouse from my degree, but still sounded interesting to me to pursue. And so I scheduled the entire career fair full of interviews and just kind of kept going one after the other, which it was virtual this year, so luckily I was able to kind of jump very fastly between the multiple ones. But the job I actually ended up getting with NTT Data was actually my last one of the day. I sat down with him and I just really hit it off with the interviewer, and we actually ended up sitting for about, I want to say, an hour and a half past the 15-minute window, which since it was the last interview of the day, well past when the career fair was over, and just hit it off so well that it ended up turning into a job. So the most challenging interview question for me was the question of what separates you from your colleagues. It was a very hard question, but at the same time, I've been blessed enough to where I feel like I've had enough experience in my life to be able to answer it fairly easily. Uh, Both, I've had a lot of experience with things both outside of college and inside of college where I've made friends, I've had opportunities given to me. Some I've had to look for, some I've had to jump at outside of the norm. I've had many options given to me through extracurriculars on school, outside of school. I've been doing research. I had the wonderful benefit to actually make friends with one of my professors and make wonderful friends with my capstone group. And actually, through that, if you are, this is off topic, but if you have the chance to get an interesting capstone, take it, even if it sounds hard, because my group, I worked with this guy named Don. Wonderful guy, hardest project I've done in my life, but I do not regret it. So the Career Center helped me specifically with my resume. Back before the fall career fair, I knew I wanted to go to it, but it had been a while since I've actually had my resume touched up. And so I took it and I went to the Center Fair and I scheduled that appointment. And I had someone actually step by step walk through my resume with me and actually point out to me not only areas where I did it bad, but also like new formatting I could use and some things I actually didn't think would be applicable from like back in high school that I could throw on my resume that actually ended up being very impressive to a lot of different employers when I was going through that career festival. So I really recommend if you do nothing else, at least schedule an appointment with them to sit down and figure that out because I completely believe that the only reason I was able to secure as in depth and as many interviews after the career fair as I did was because of that resume.